I told Anna I wanted a divorce. The only thing I wanted was the money. Nothing else mattered. Anna shot me a sideways glance, a cold smirk on her lips. Not even your precious son? No, because on his 5th birthday, our son's one wish was for his parents to get a divorce. He wanted Uncle Ethan to be his new dad. I handed her the divorce papers. Anna Sterling. She scanned them like they were just another document on her desk, her expression unreadable. Her passion for me, if you could call it that, only ever surfaced late at night, tangled in emotional knots. Noah, stop being dramatic. This is the office. She was convinced I wasn't serious, that this was just another ploy for attention. I'm not being dramatic. I had waited in the guest reception area for 3 hours, like any other visitor, enduring the pitying looks from her staff. When Ethan Carter comes to see Ms. Sterling, he doesn't wait a minute. So the rumors that the CEO couldn't stand her husband were true after all. Anna, I want this done as soon as possible. Noah, what is this all about? Only then did she give the papers a serious look. Noah, you're only taking this much? Yes. It was the same amount she had tried to pay me off with when she found out she was pregnant. She wanted me to disappear. But I didn't, because I was a transmigrator. Marrying Anna Sterling and ensuring the safety of our son, Leo, was my mission. As a man, I also felt a responsibility to her. But no matter how hard I tried, I could never reach the warmth in her heart. There was no future for us. This money would be my long overdue compensation. To her, the $50 million on the agreement was a drop in the bucket. To me, it was a fortune, enough to live comfortably for the rest of my life. Anna stood up, looking down at me from her full height, her designer dress accentuating her cold beauty. She sneered again. Just the money. You don't even want the son you love so much. I managed a small smile. No, I had loved Leo deeply, even though he took his mother's last name. He was still my son. For 5 years, I had poured all my patience and love into him, ignoring the whispers and negative comments from the outside world. Anna never seemed to care much for Leo. The first time she saw him after he was born, she just said his name coldly, Leo Sterling, and handed him off to the nanny. But strangely, Leo was incredibly attached to Anna. He was a gifted speaker. At 3, he told me calmly, "Mommy doesn't come home because it's Daddy's fault." I thought it was just a child's innocent remark, until he was 4 and met Ethan Carter for the first time after Ethan's divorce and return from abroad. When we got home, he told the nanny, "No wonder Mommy likes Uncle Ethan. I like him too. Uncle Ethan is more fun than Daddy." When I got upset with him for eating too much candy, he would pout. I have to coax him gently. "Leo, Daddy will make you new candy with apples and cinnamon. It tastes good and it's healthy." But he threw the apple cinnamon lollipops I made into the trash. "I don't want yours. I want the fancy Italian candies Uncle Ethan brought." I froze. The son I had cared for with all my heart was so much like her. Cold. On his 5th birthday, both he and his mother invited Ethan. As I stood to the side, the long silent voice of the system echoed in my mind. "Mission complete. Subject. You can choose to return or to stay. You have a family here now, after all." I was hesitating, but Leo had already made the choice for me. His birthday wish was loud and clear. "I want my mommy and daddy to get a divorce, and I want Uncle Ethan to be my new dad." Everyone in the room was stunned. Anna just frowned slightly and told him to make another wish. Ethan just laughed, calling Leo cute, but the triumph in his eyes was unmistakable. I smiled faintly and turned to the system. "Send me home." I didn't want to wait another second. But the system informed me that disengaging also had a cooling-off period, just like a human divorce. I was floored. "How long?" 3 years. I laughed, a hollow sound. "System, you son of a gun. Are you trying to kill me with anticipation?" The system paused, then offered as compensation, "Your accumulated points will be increased by 1/3, ensuring you awaken in good health." I agreed. I would get the divorce first. And that's why I was standing in Anna's office. "Anna, let's get a divorce." She lit a cigarette, a lazy smile playing on her lips. "Noah, have you forgotten what you said 5 years ago? That you'd die without Leo." I had said that. At the time, Anna had just heard that Ethan was getting married and had spent a tangled night with me. That was the night Leo was conceived. At first, Anna wanted to terminate the pregnancy. But I remembered the system's warning. If she did, the mission would fail, and she might lose the ability to have children. I had to beg her. If we lose the baby, it will hurt you, and it will hurt me. I knew her well enough to know that if I didn't beg, she had 100 ways to get what she wanted. Anna had been wild since she was young, fighting her way up to earn the approval of Ethan's adoptive parents, wanting to marry him. But just as she was about to give him the engagement ring she'd bought, she heard the news of his marriage. Much later, I learned that Anna's sudden proposal to me was also because of something Ethan had said. I'm married now. I hope to hear good news from you soon. I looked at Anna, thinking to myself, I hope I never have to see her again. I said calmly, since you and your son both adore Ethan, you can form a new family after the divorce. Everyone will be happy, won't they? Anna squinted at me, a scornful smile on her face. Then her expression hardened. You want to play games? Fine, I'll play. She added a clause. After the divorce, I was never to see Leo without her permission. That would have been a fatal blow to me once. But now I didn't love anyone, so I had no weaknesses. Under her defiant gaze, I was as calm as still water. I agree. She froze for a second, the light in her eyes dimming. She quickly signed the agreement and tossed a copy to me. I picked it up and left. I could feel the anger radiating from Anna, but she was generous with money. As expected, the $50 million would be in my account soon. Watching Noah leave, Anna felt an inexplicable irritation. Mark, her longtime executive assistant, came in with a file. Anna said coldly, he's just throwing a tantrum. How could he bear to leave Leo? Mark smiled. You're right. Noah loves you and the boy so much. He's probably just upset. Anna, if you just talk to him, he'll come around. He doesn't need coddling. He'll come back on his knees, begging for forgiveness in less than 3 months. Mark left with a smile. Anna looked out at the city lights below, her mind drifting back to the Noah of years ago. The first time they were together, he was more nervous than she was, his eyes red-rimmed, his voice trembling, muttering things she didn't understand. The day Noah filed for divorce, Anna skipped her dinner meeting and went home early. The nanny told her that Noah had already moved out that afternoon. The irritation in Anna's heart grew, but her face remained a mask. She just snorted and went into her study, ignoring it. I went back to the Sterling mansion, packed a small bag, and prepared to leave. Leo was sitting in the living room, playing on his tablet with a lollipop in his mouth. He glanced at me. Mommy said I could have it. Uncle Ethan gave it to me. Mind your own business. I laughed. I don't care. Eat as many as you want. I crouched down and pinched his cheek. You're the one who'll get cavities, not me. Leo, I'm leaving. Where are you going? Making room for your replacement. Dad, you're talking nonsense again. Mommy says you're an orphan. You have nowhere to go except for leeching off her. Try to be more mature, Dad. Uncle Ethan isn't childish like you. Just go, Dad. I'm not going to miss you. He went back to his game. In the past, I would have taken his tablet away. I would have said, let's build with Legos, or let's go for a swim, or let's read a picture book. I would have sacrificed my own time to be with him to make up for the maternal love he was missing. But not anymore. Someone else could deal with it. With that, I dragged my small suitcase out the door of the Sterling mansion. The warm sun enveloped me, making my eyes sting slightly. For words popped into my head. A new day. I rented an apartment in a nice complex with 2 units per floor. No need to buy. I couldn't take it with me in 3 years anyway. The community was beautiful with a view of the ocean from my window, but I could also see someone walking into the sea. A tiny figure was slowly heading towards the waves alone. On instinct, I kicked off my slippers and sprinted downstairs, across the road and the greenbelt to the beach. I scooped up the small body. Where are your parents? The little boy was about 3, with big, round eyes like grapes. They were wet, as if he'd just been crying. He didn't say a word, just clutched the corner of his shirt tightly. Sonny, a young, attractive woman walked over. I hadn't noticed the hammock in the trees on the beach, where she had been sitting, watching the boy the whole time. Thank you, but don't worry, he doesn't dare go any further. I was watching him. The woman reached for the boy. Sonny, let's go home with Mommy. But the boy clung to my neck, his little pink mouth forming 2 words. Hold me. The woman paused, then smiled. That's the first time Sonny has ever asked a stranger to hold him. The kid was soft and adorable. I couldn't push him away, so I carried him all the way back to the complex. It turned out they lived right next door to me. The woman thought for a moment. Mr. Davis, Sonny seems to really like you. I know you're single and currently unemployed. It's just the two of us at home. I'm a doctor. I keep to myself, no bad habits. I handed the child back to her and said in a low voice he couldn't hear, even if you're a doctor, you shouldn't use your kid to hit on people and dig into my personal information. You're a beautiful, respectable-looking woman. Acting so forward will only hurt you. She looked at me, completely stunned. Mr. Davis, I was going to ask if you could help watch Sonny for a while, until I find a nanny he likes. Of course, you can name your price. So that's what she meant. I clear my throat. Ah, and I know your personal information because I'm your landlord. I then confirmed her information. She was indeed the landlord. I've always been one to admit when I'm wrong and be flexible. Ms. Miller, I'm sorry. I was out of line. Seeing the little boy's pitiful eyes, my heart softened. I agreed to look after Sonny temporarily while I was on my vacation. He was a quiet boy. When he wasn't at preschool, he would sit on his little stool and watch me paint. Every time I finished a piece, he would clap his little hands and praise me. Good job, Noah. Good job. I told him to call me by my name. I like being friends with kids that way. You're Sonny. I'm Noah. It's like we were meant to meet. Occasionally, I'd have a moment of déjà vu. Leo had never been like this. He was always complaining, Dad, you're so boring. Come play Legos with me. A cute, cuddly human child like Sonny was truly a healing presence. The only strange thing was that he often cried out for his mommy and daddy in his sleep. He'd wake up with wet eyes. I'd hold him close, comforting him and giving him one of my homemade apple cinnamon lollipops. He'd pop it in his mouth, his eyes closing into happy little crescents, and give me a kiss. It tastes like yummy fruit. When his mom, Sarah, got home from work, he'd show it off to her. Mommy, the candy Noah makes is better than the stuff you buy. Sometimes he'd savor it, taking small bites so it would last longer. I smiled. See, you like it. What Leo had once dismissed as trash, someone else treasured. Before the divorce, my life revolved around Leo. If I was out for even half an hour, I'd worry if he had bumped himself or gotten hurt. Maybe it was because of Sonny's company, but in the days since I left the Sterling mansion, I rarely thought about Leo or anything related to that life. The butler, however, had contacted me several times. Sir, the young master is having trouble sleeping without your bedtime stories. He'll get used to it. Sir, he has a toothache. Will you come back and be with him? No, I'm not a dentist. A few days later, I ran into them unexpectedly. Sarah had to go out of town for a conference and asked me to handle preschool drop-off and pick up for a few days. I had forgotten that Sonny's preschool was the same ridiculously expensive private one that Leo attended. Sarah really spared no expense. I lifted Sonny out of the car and had just walked him inside when I came face to face with Leo. In the car behind him sat Anna, her expression blank. Leo opened his mouth to say Dad, but swallowed the word. Even with the divorce, he was still my son. I gave him a friendly wave. Hey, Leo. He didn't respond, just puffed up his cheeks like an angry pufferfish and ran into his classroom. My ex-wife in the car was a familiar face, but I had no desire to greet her. To my surprise, she deigned to get out of the car and speak first. Didn't I tell you not to see Leo without my permission? I had to laugh. It was a coincidence. Believe it or not. I couldn't be bothered with her. Anna scoffed behind me. Noah, how long are you going to keep up this tough guy act? It had been over a month since Noah left. Anna didn't understand why the house felt so empty with just one person gone. But she wasn't having any trouble adjusting. It was just that Leo often cried, secretly asking the butler when his dad was coming home. She couldn't quite put her finger on her feelings for Leo. Perhaps because she herself had been abandoned in a dumpster as a child and had never known what it was like to have parents, she didn't know how to be a mother. Stop crying. What kind of a man cries like that? Leo hiccuped. Mommy, can you tell me a bedtime story like Daddy does? No, you don't have to sleep if you don't want to. Leo froze. In the end, Anna still sat on the edge of his little bed and read to him. The more she read, the more a fire burned inside her. She should be in her study, looking at financial reports, not reading a children's picture book. With a snap, she closed the book and turned off the light. Sleep or don't. I'm done. Leo pursed his lips and reluctantly slid under the covers. For the first time, he felt that Noah's selfish decision to leave had disrupted the order of his life. Anna held on to that anger until a few days later, when she saw Noah at Leo's preschool. The frustration that had been building seemed to dissipate slightly. See, she thought, he couldn't bear to be away from his son. He had even deliberately chosen time when she, who rarely did, was dropping Leo off. He was just being stubborn, leaving a perfectly good mansion to stage this divorce drama. She had the butler call Leo out of school for a few days, wanting Noah to make a wasted trip. If he wanted to see his son, he could come and beg her. But 3 days later, the butler reported hesitantly, Ms. Sterling, Mr. Davis still comes to the preschool every day. It seems he's dropping off another child. He's not there specifically to see the young master. Anna was stunned. Sarah was a woman of her word. In my 3rd month of looking after Sonny, she found a gentle nanny for him. Out of habit, I still helped out when I had free time. It was less about me looking after him and more about us keeping each other company. When Sarah wasn't busy, she would often cook for me. Perhaps it was a doctor's habit, but she would often deboil the fish or remove the meat from the bone before cooking. The food was surprisingly good. I always finished every bite with a mixture of fear and satisfaction. After dinner, Sonny would play with his magnetic tiles at his little table in the living room while Sarah and I chatted on the sofa. There was a strange sense of peaceful domesticity. The nanny mentioned that Sonny had been crying out for his parents in his sleep again. Sarah just nodded. He needs time to adjust to the new nanny. I couldn't help but ask, did something happen? Something that might have triggered him to cry in his sleep? Sarah said, quietly, Sonny's parents passed away in an accident last year. He needs time to process it psychologically. I was shocked. Then who are you? A kidnapper. Sarah couldn't help but smile. What are you thinking? I'm his aunt. After my brother and sister-in-law passed, I adopted him. We live as mother and son, so he doesn't have to face strange looks from people. I patted her shoulder. That's very admirable of you. Sarah suddenly leaned in close. I could smell the faint, grassy scent on her. Noah, do you think a single mom like me could ever find a man who'd be interested? Of course. You're beautiful, successful, and most importantly, you have a big heart. Then are you interested in me? The sudden shift in conversation caught me off guard. I can't. Why not? I have to go home in 3 years. Sarah's faint smile faded, a look of disappointment on her face. Noah, you can't forget your ex-wife, can you? I laughed. How is that possible? I heard she's getting married soon. Sarah's eyelashes fluttered, her eyes lighting up. Her voice was filled with an unconcealable excitement. Really? Should I send them a big gift to congratulate them? I froze. Sarah, my ex-wife is getting married. Why are you so excited? You'd think it was your ex getting married. It had been almost half a year, and Noah showed no signs of returning. He had left so cleanly. Anna was busy every day and didn't think of Noah often. Leo had gradually stopped crying, though he often just stared blankly at a small wooden puppet Noah had made for him. The nannies took good care of him, so Anna wasn't worried. Ethan, however, had been dropping hints for a while. Anna, what do you think about us wearing matching rings? The rumor that Anna Sterling was going to marry her childhood friend, Ethan Carter, was all over the city. I wonder if Noah had heard. In her memory, Ethan was the one she had always loved. Childhood memories are powerful. When she first arrived at the orphanage, she was thin and weak, but her eyes were fierce, like an untamed little leopard. Because of that, she was often bullied by the orphanage's kingpin. One day, they beat her up badly. It was Ethan who called the director, and the bullies scattered. Ethan smiled and gave her a piece of fruit candy. Here, it's sweet. It was the sweetest thing she had ever tasted in her young life. She had never doubted that Ethan was the person she loved most. But a small part of her heart sang a different tune. For example, she found herself inexplicably driving to Noah's apartment building, watching him walk into the complex laughing with a beautiful woman and a cute little boy. She recognized the woman and was a little surprised. When did Noah start moving in such circles? When Noah came out alone, she blocked his path, a half smile on her face. So you can hold out this long. This time, when Noah saw her, he just looked at her for a moment without speaking. He was here. Shouldn't he be happy? She was giving him an out, and he wasn't taking it. Anna felt a surge of annoyance. Noah, you know my temper. Once I make a decision, I don't change it. If you still want Leo, move back in. Otherwise, when I marry Ethan, you'll lose your chance. Noah's expression was as calm as it had been in her office 6 months ago when he asked for a divorce. Congratulations, Ms. Sterling. And thank you for coming all this way just to ask for a wedding gift. A sharp pain pricked Anna's heart, and a nameless fire ignited within her. Noah, do you think you've landed a big fish? I was confused. What big fish? Anna sneered. Sarah Miller, the princess of the Boston Miller family. I vaguely remembered Anna mentioning them before. In the business world, her toughest rivals were the Millers from Boston, a powerful family with deep pockets and connections everywhere. Sarah might be a simple doctor on the surface, but she was the sole heir to the Miller fortune and would eventually have to go back and take over the family business. Do you really think her family would let her marry a divorced man like you? I didn't like the sound of that. What's wrong with being divorced? A lot of divorced people just had bad luck and ended up with a toxic partner. I looked her straight in the eye. Anna, you're lucky you have money. Otherwise, with your bad temper, your emotional abuse in marriage, and your tendency to attack your ex-husband's new relationships, no one in their right mind would want you. For once, Anna was speechless, her face darkening. I, on the other hand, felt a strange sense of satisfaction. Ignoring her thunderous expression, I turned to leave, only to come face to face with Sarah, who had apparently been listening for who knows how long. I clear my throat. I'm usually much nicer than this. You believe me, right? Sarah nodded. I believe you. As we walked, we suddenly looked at each other and burst out laughing. What are you laughing at? I asked. Noah, you're surprisingly funny when you're angry, and I think you made some very good points. Even though I wasn't a teenager anymore, being complimented by a beautiful woman who was interested in me still made my ears burn. I quickened my pace. Sarah kept up with me easily. Noah, the most important thing is my marriage is my decision. It has nothing to do with the Miller family. Did you hear me, Noah? A week before Anna's wedding, Leo came to see me, accompanied by the butler. Years had passed, and Leo was almost 8. He had lost his baby fat and shot up in height, looking more and more like Anna. Hey, Leo. His eyes were a little red. Dad. I took him upstairs. Did your mom say you could come? I knew the butler wouldn't have dared bring him without Anna's permission. Leo nodded. Dad, have you completely given up on me? I smiled. I haven't given up on you, Leo. You're the one who didn't want me. Then why don't you come home? I sighed. Your mom and I are divorced. Divorced people don't live together. Leo turned away, looking at the floor. Can't you come back for me? How can you say you haven't given up on me if you won't? Leo, why should I go back because of you? Leo was young, but he was smart. I didn't talk to him like he was a little kid because he understood. Once, because of the mission, I wanted to survive so badly. And because I lacked love, I desperately wanted the ideal family I had in my head with a loving wife and a cute kid. I was obsessed. But some things are like sand in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. For the past 5 years, my life revolved around you and your mother. I lost myself. That kind of self-sacrificing martyrdom is meaningless. I wasn't happy. You have to love yourself first before you can love others. Leo, there's nothing wrong with loving yourself first. Leo seemed to understand, but not completely. He mumbled, Then why didn't you take me with you when you got divorced? I told him seriously. I could have taken you. I could have chosen not to go back to my own world. You're my son, and I do have a responsibility to you. But Leo, think about it carefully. If you lived with me, there would be no luxury cars, no vast fortune to inherit, no team of nannies and drivers at your beck and call. All you would have is the ordinary life you see right here. Would you want that? Leo hung his head in silence. I knew my son. He had his own choices to make. A knock on the door. I opened it, and a pink and blue whirlwind shot into my arms. Noah, I want an apple cinnamon lollipop. Sonny saw Leo and blinked. Noah, is this big brother your son? I smiled and nodded. Sonny grabbed a handful of lollipops from the table and offered them to Leo. Here, big brother, try one. He makes the best ones. They're healthy and delicious, way better than the fancy candies from the store. Leo took the candy and suddenly burst into tears. Dad, I'm sorry. I knew he was remembering the time he threw the candy I made for him in the trash. Sometimes the things you throw away are impossible to get back. Love included. Anna and Ethan finally got married. The wedding was incredibly lavish and made headlines all over the city. In the photos, Ethan was beaming, but Anna's face was expressionless. Leo, dressed in a tiny, exquisite suit as the ring bearer, had the same unreadable expression as his mother. But his 5th birthday wish had finally come true. All I can say is, be careful what you wish for. Strangely, the happiest people about Anna's wedding were Sarah and Sonny. They insisted on dragging me to a mountain resort to celebrate. Noah, the stars are amazing there, and we could set off fireworks. Sonny spun around in excitement. I love fireworks. Seeing Sonny gradually emerge from the grief of losing his parents, happier each day, made me happy too. Under the night sky, we ate hot pot and sliced watermelon. The stars were countless, and fireflies blinked in the darkness. The croaking of frogs from a nearby pond provided a constant chorus. This was the kind of life I wanted, but not here. In my own world. Sonny handed me a slice of watermelon. Noah, your ex-wife got married. You're not sad, are you? I nearly choked on my watermelon. Who told you to ask that? Mommy didn't. I asked myself. Sarah's hand, holding her tea, trembled slightly. Noah, don't be sad. You still have us. Even if that other boy calls someone else dad, you still have me. I could be your kid. I smiled and pinched his chubby cheek. What else do you want to say? Spit it all out. Sonny cleared his throat like a little adult. And if having me as your kid isn't enough, my mommy can be your wife. This time, it was my hand that trembled. As if the situation wasn't awkward enough, Sonny shouted to Sarah, who was pretending to be busy but not actually doing anything. Right, Mommy? You can, right? You can be Noah's wife, right? Sarah whispered a soft, hum, her ears turning slightly red. Then she looked up at the sky, at Sonny, at the trees, at the flowers, at anything but me. Happy times always seemed to have a fast-forward button. 3 years flew by. To be honest, the 3 years after my divorce were quite pleasant. My only regret was not divorcing Anna sooner. Subject, the program will initiate on the 3rd of next month at 1600 hours. Are you staying or leaving? Hearing my answer, the system seemed surprised. Are you sure you want to leave, Noah? I thought you would choose to stay. Anna couldn't tell if she had married Ethan more because she liked him or because she wanted to spite Noah. Married life was bland. Nothing had changed, yet everything had. She had developed a drinking habit. A few glasses of strong liquor would numb her nerves. And for a moment, she felt like she was truly living. Otherwise, when she was sober, she felt like Noah's ghost haunted the house. This is crazy. How can I be seeing Noah when I'm drunk? The voice that answered was cold, nothing like the gentle way Noah spoke. I'm Ethan, not Noah. Anna, you have Noah in your heart. Why did you marry me? The alcohol made her head throb. She couldn't think straight. Did she have Noah in her heart? No, probably not. She had always been cold to him, treating him as if he were disposable. But did she? She vaguely remembered that when Ethan got married overseas, she had only been slightly sad, not consumed with regret for not chasing after him sooner. But the divorce from Noah was like being cut with a dull knife. At first, she felt nothing, but now, the pain was a constant, tearing wound. She wanted a warm little family too. She had just been too stubborn to admit she needed it. Ethan, what do you want? A divorce. The daily arguments and accusations were exhausting. He must be tired too. It turned out that not loving someone was such a tiring affair. Ethan clenched his jaw, his eyes red. Anna, you're the one who wanted to marry me. I will never agree to a divorce. We could just torture each other for the rest of our lives. Neither of us gets to be happy. Ethan stormed out, slamming the door. Anna saw Leo across the hall, closing his bedroom door with a blank expression. Was this even a family anymore? It It was like three strangers living together. The wine glass in her hand shattered against the wall. Broken is broken. It can't be made whole again. The night before I was supposed to leave, I couldn't sleep. It felt like being a kid the night before a big trip. I had told both Leo and Sonny that I was leaving. Leo's expression was neutral, but his eyes turned red when I said I was going. Dad, I can't keep you. You have to be yourself first. I respect your decision. Leo, thank you for understanding. We were father and son. There was no deep-seated hatred between us, but we weren't close either. The bond of blood couldn't be severed. This kind of distant respect was probably for the best. Sonny cried his eyes out, but tried to act brave. Noah, I'm fine. If you want to go home, you should go. But you have to think of me up there. Hum. I wiped his tears, my heart aching. Buddy, you make it sound like I'm going to heaven. I'm just going home. Don't cry, be a big boy. Sonny pouted. My mommy has been crying in secret too. I froze. Sarah? Crying? Such a strong, rational woman. I hadn't seen her in a week. I heard she was swamped at the hospital, barely had time to sleep. I thought about it. I should see her one last time. I had never seen such chaos at a hospital. Blood was splattered across an entire wall. A team of doctors and nurses was rushing a patient towards the operating room. I caught a glimpse of the patient on the gurney. They were wearing a white coat. My pupils contracted. Who was that? I couldn't get closer, but someone next to me said a middle-aged patient had attacked a doctor and then committed suicide by jumping from a window. The doctor who was stabbed, a Dr. Evans, was a good person, a brilliant surgeon. It was heartbreaking. My heart was pounding in my chest. Dr. Evans. I had met him. He was Sarah's colleague and good friend, a kind and gentle man. Then I heard a few family members of another patient complaining that Sarah Miller is so cold-hearted. Instead of helping to save Dr. Evans, she rushed to save that murderer. Maybe she's just jealous that Dr. Evans is a better surgeon. Maybe there were already enough doctors helping Dr. Evans, and Dr. Miller couldn't get through, so she went to save the attacker. Nonsense. They didn't know what they were talking about. Sarah wasn't like that. I didn't have the energy to argue with them. I waited anxiously for the results of the surgery. The operating room doors opened, and there was good news on two fronts. Dr. Evans was stable, his life no longer in danger. It was a medical miracle, and the attacker had also been saved by Sarah. I finally let out a breath of relief, and now I had the strength to set those ignorant family members straight. Dr. Evans was being treated by top specialists. Sarah didn't need to push her way in and get in the way. This is a hospital, not a farmer's market where more hands mean more sales. And the attacker deserved to be saved. Let him live to see himself convicted, to be condemned by society, to suffer the consequences. Letting him die would have been too easy for a scumbag like him. The people who had been talking earlier blushed and fell silent. I turned around and found Sarah listening in again. She looked exhausted, but was smiling brightly. Noah, thank you for defending me. I was about to be completely misunderstood. In a quiet corner, she asked me softly, You came to see me to tell me you're not leaving tomorrow, right? I knew she was talking about disengaging from the system. I smiled. Sorry, I am leaving tomorrow. Today was Ethan's birthday. He was throwing a lavish party at their villa, and I let him do whatever he wanted. Besides money, there was nothing else she could give him now. Leo had told the butler yesterday that he was going to see Noah, and I let him go. Leo now spoke more to the household staff than to her. Today, for a rare change, Leo knocked on the door of Anna's study. His eyes were red, as if he had just been crying. Anna frowned. Didn't I tell you that boys don't cry? You cried yesterday, and you're crying again today. Leo's voice was low. Dad is leaving today. He's going back to his own home and never coming back. After Leo left, Anna sat there for a long time before the words sank in. She took a sharp drag from her cigarette, a strange panic rising in her chest. She felt that Noah wasn't lying. His system was taking him back. She believed him about the system now. Anna grabbed her car keys from the desk and headed downstairs. Just as she opened the door, Ethan was standing there. He came in and pushed the door shut behind him. It's my birthday. You're still going to him? Anna, have you ever thought about my feelings? Anna didn't argue. At this point, there was nothing she could say. Ethan pressed his body against the door, his face contorted, losing all of his usual handsome charm. Anna gritted her teeth. Move. I will die before I let you go to him today. Anna didn't want to hurt him. She felt he was pathetic in his own way. She stood by the window and laughed coldly. Ethan, I don't control you, so don't you control me, okay? Have you ever thought about my feelings when you do the things you do? Ethan's face visibly paled. What things? Anna looked at him now as if he were a stranger. Your assistant, the marketing director. You can have whoever you want. Just please don't mess with the people around me. Ethan started shouting. If you weren't so cold and distant, if you didn't emotionally abuse me, would I have made those mistakes? Anna glanced at her watch. Time was running out. She opened the second floor window and jumped. If she didn't leave now, she felt like she would go insane. Anna floored the gas pedal as soon as she got in the car. This might be her last hope, a hope that Noah would stay. But it was not to be. She sped recklessly, and at a corner, she collided with an oncoming sports car. Amid the screeching of metal, she lost control of the car completely. Her consciousness began to fade. The airbag had deployed. Blood was dripping from her head, and one of her legs was pinned under the seat, immovable. It was probably broken. This was the first time the adult Anna Sterling had cried. She cried like a child. She knew she had lost her chance. She had lost her chance to keep Noah forever. Today was the day I was supposed to leave. But I didn't. No one knew. I finally found Sarah and Sonny. Under the setting sun, Sarah stood like a beautiful statue, quietly watching the distant coastline, her expression lonely and dejected. Sonny was digging in the sand with the little shovel I had given him, muttering to himself. I got closer and had a laugh. Crab, don't you dare pinch me. Noah is gone. I had to think of 100 happy things just to stop crying. If my mom can do it, I can too. If you pinch me, I swear I won't let you see my tears. I crouched down and moved the little crabs out of his way. Dig away, buddy. Sonny looked at me, froze, and then turned and shouted, Mommy, come quick. I'm hallucinating in broad daylight. I see Noah. In the sunset, Sarah's lips slowly curved into a smile, the corners of her eyes still a little red. Sonny, it's real. It's Noah. Sonny went wild with joy. Noah, you're not leaving, are you? Sarah put her hands in her pockets. I thought you said you were leaving today. I pointed to the cake I had set down nearby. It's your birthday today. Can a guy go out to buy a cake? Sarah's smile bloomed, visibly brighter. Sonny ran in circles on the beach, the waves chasing his little feet, his laughter echoing in the air. Sarah's eyes shimmered. You didn't delay going home because of us, did you? I'd feel terrible. My own smile widened. Sarah, you're being a little dramatic. Of course it's not because of you. It's because I can't go back for now. Yesterday at the hospital, the system was complaining. Men are so fickle. Last month you wanted to leave, now you want to stay. System, can you help me? Can I exchange my points to keep Dr. Evans alive? The system had told me that Dr. Evans was originally not supposed to make it. A tragic loss. Subject, once confirmed, your points will be completely wiped out. You will have nothing. You won't be able to go home.